Hello, and welcome to MoviePod, a Reclaim Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Brian Wishart. To commemorate the life of Sam Neill, I have a couple of Sam Neill movies in the pipeline right now, and so I got Maeve back on the show to talk about Paul W.S. Anderson's film Event Horizon, which is a film that had pretty bad reviews when it came out. It got rushed a lot because Paramount had a lot of money invested into Titanic that same year, and Paramount's like, we need a summer hit because we don't know what the hell this Titanic movie's going to do. So this movie got very, very rushed, and I think the end product of it still works out pretty well, but there's also these longer cuts that might be out there, they might not be out there, who knows. But yeah, this is a movie that's very influential towards a lot of, especially some science fiction video games like Dead Space. And it's actually gone down as being a pretty big cult film that's actually appeared on a lot of lists of some of the best sci-fi horrors of all time, which is quite the difference from when it first came out. And Paul W.S. Anderson being one of those directors that's been, as discussed in the show previously, pretty maligned in the past. So joined by Maeve. So Maeve, how's it going?
Well, I'm a bit hungover, but it is how it is.
Well, I don't think anyone in the movie's having a great time, so I think it works well to be in the headspace of, being trapped in a haunted house spaceship, of having your mind not be fully there.
I mean, I wish it was fully there, because this is a movie I actually do have a lot of love for. It's probably my second favorite of Paul W.S. Anderson's movies after Resident Evil Retribution.
Yeah, probably the same. Yeah,
it's just always been a movie I vibed with, at first as sort of like, hey, that's cute and fun, and then like as I rewatched it over the years, it's just been more like appreciating the production design, appreciating how much of a real actual movie it is, and also appreciating it as part of what I call the unofficial Sam Neill Has a Bad Time trilogy.
So that would be this one, In the Mouth of Madness, and Possession, of course. Yeah, previous episode, Possession. Yeah, like, he is so good in all these movies. Like, he is just like, he can do the absolute confidence. Like especially something like this, where he starts off as being guys like totally confident of like the mission and everything and what he's built, and then completely unravels, and you completely buy it as an actor, which is a very hard thing to do for a movie where like it's about a guy completely unraveling into something completely unknown.
Yeah, and like, obviously, I feel like he did, in fact, have it coming.
In this movie? Oh, yeah. Don't fuck with space.
Yeah, it's a little bit of don't fuck with space, a little bit of, like, general, why did you fucking do this, man? Like, yeah. It feels like every decision he makes is the wrong one. Like, obviously, his mental state is portrayed as off from the very start.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everyone's mental state is a bit off, as we'll talk more when we get into the actual movie. But, the joke about how every modern horror movie is, it's about trauma. This one actually is kind of like that, but it also kind of takes all of them back behind the alley and shoots them in the head.
Yeah.
I'd also say that Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 does that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. What I like about this one is that, like, they're not really wearing their trauma in front of each other at work. It's basically once, like, the hallucinations start kicking in, that, like, that's when, like, oh shit, this is what everyone's backstory is. Like, this is what their trauma really is. Like, it's refreshing in a way because, like, again, like, so many horror movies are about quote unquote trauma right now, and just like every scene is just dripping with kind of misery, and it loses a lot of. It's very hard. Like, do you see the movie Drop, or The Drop from last year?
I did not.
That's the one where that's like Megan Fahy from White Lotus, and like she gets like airdropped like messages when she's on a date at a tower and such. And fun premise for a movie, should be a fun movie overall, but that movie like is just so like, oh, like she has a bad experience with an ex who's traumatized her, it's PTSD. So like the campy fun premise kind of you can't really do like a campy movie that's kind of supposed to be fun and traumatic at the same time. I think it's a very hard thing to pull off, and I think that Event Horizon is campy enough as a movie, and I think that's just Paul W.S. Anderson's like sensibilities as a filmmaker really helping out too. But I also think that just the way this movie's aged as well, because like this is like 90s CGI, and I'm a sucker for like 90s like space CGI stuff.
Yeah, it's got that sort of 90s thing where it's like there's so much incredible like practical work and practical production design, and you've also got like some little CG blitz and blobs going around. Like, it's not the best age CGI, but you know, it was the 90s. They were still figuring that out, and I feel like most of the true stuff in the movie is in fact practical. And,
oh yeah, the best stuff is for sure.
And it's like all the iconic stuff from the movie is practical. It's not like a movie where you make fun of the CGI for because the CGI is not the focus. It's more like accent pieces in the midst of like big spinny space ball and the computer circuit tunnel and a lot of these really like fun practical sets of the worst spaceship of all time.
Yeah.
It's like, are they really surprised the spaceship went to hell? Yeah. Look at it. They made it look like that.
Yeah, it has a great design, and I really like how the Event Horizon is a ship, because like it creates a good set piece where like they have like, you know, there's the front of the ship with the cockpit or whatever, and then there's the back of it where all the shit like actually the core is and everything, and it's just like a big pretty much just like a walkway or between the two. So like it's great for it looks incredible, but also like it's a really clever way to like have a set piece where like you're trying to separate the ship. Like it's a really clever way to just have the design of the ship actually function well for the narrative of the movie.
It's like, I will admit I was a little confused about the ship geography, but at that point I was, you know, 2 beers deep, and I was just like, let's not nitpick about that bullshit.
Yeah. I do feel like the geography of the ship is kind of a bit underbaked, because like you see the Lewis and Clark, which is the rescue ship, going towards Event Horizon. It's Event Horizon completely, like, it's so much bigger than the Lewis and Clark. And he's like, oh, like, there's probably going to be a lot more stuff you can do in the Event Horizon. But the Event Horizon feels just as big as the Lewis and Clark on the inside. Like, really? Like,
yeah, it's like we see, with the Lewis and Clark, we see the deck, and we see the, like, common area that has, like, a couple bunks and a big table. Mm-hmm. And Sean Pertwee's porn collection that he just keeps out in the open. And then we get to the Event Horizon, and there's the deck, there's the core room,
the big ass hallway,
yeah, and the med bay. Mm-hmm. Like, look, it is what it is. Even with like $60 million went further in 1997 than it does now, but even then, it's like, you know, you're building these big-ass sets at Pinewood Studios, and they look so good. You gotta, you know, make some concessions. And it's definitely a movie where the money is all on screen.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like it's funny, because I when I first watched this movie, I watched this when I was, like, 9 years old on TV. Definitely too young for it. And,
God, what is a TV cut of Event Horizon even like? They probably don't show the screens at all.
Oh, it's still bloody as hell. It's Canada, right? So you can show whatever the fuck you want on like a late night TV. But like the one part that's that it's completely, I almost misremembered in a way, is when Justin gets depressurized and like his like blood starts coming out of his eyes. I always just, because remember this movie has like a lot of like eye trauma going on. I imagine that his eyeballs popped out, which they don't. But like that part kind of scarred me for a long time, and it's been I watched the movie maybe like 10 years ago again and liked it, but like, yeah, like, just that one image really, really got me. But like, yeah, I remember watching it on a tiny ass TV in like 2000, 2001, and just like, you know, thought the effects were good. And like, you know, like, of course, like, the comparison for visual effects in 1997 is going to be Titanic, but like that movie is like James Cameron, who's a completely different visual effects guy.
And it's still a couple months out by the time.
Still a few months out, yeah. Drops. But like, it's like. And is Alien Resurrection in the same year as this? I know that I know that Anderson was supposed to do that movie, but then chose to do this one instead.
Yeah, Alien Resurrection was a 1997 release, but I think it was a few months earlier in the summer. Mm-hmm. Like, you get into like the story, like Paul W.S. Anderson is coming off of Mortal Kombat, which is a commercial success and sort of a light critical success, and I think that movie holds up too. It's better than basically every Mortal Kombat movie that came out after that, which is admittedly like not too big of a stretch to say. Like, I never saw the second modern Mortal Kombat movie, and I don't want to.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's like my thing is like I really hated the 2021 movie.
If you don't like that, then like the biggest improvement that this one has is that what's his face?
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban as Johnny Cage is a really fun addition and kind of gives it a bit of star power that really helps the movie. But it is a direct sequel, so it has all the same flaws as the first one. But
yeah, it's I think like the way they approach those movies is just like inherently fucking terrible. Like, we're gonna make a trilogy where the first one is before the Mortal Kombat tournament, then the second one is the Mortal Kombat tournament, then the third movie is the aftermath of the Mortal Kombat tournament. Can you just make a movie about the fucking Mortal Kombat tournament?
The second one, yeah, the tournament itself is fun. Actually, I think they do a fun sequel setup for the third movie, which I'm definitely going to see opening weekend. If it comes out. I'm not sure that movie made enough money.
It's like maybe like my least favorite like example of modern day fucking franchise starter bullshit brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because like maybe when all three movies come out, it'll be easier to watch all three. But like so many movies just completely if they fail the first time, then like you're never gonna get the good stuff. I'm trying to think of an example I saw recently. It was kind of like a failed start of a franchise. Oh, think about like something like Supergirl, which I've heard like kind of just like misses the mark. Where it's kind of like, why is this the second movie of this franchise here? There's so much like there's so many templates on how to build a franchise now, and I feel like the idea is that you're running like the good stuff's going to happen in the next movie, which is just such a bad way to make a movie.
Yeah, it's like I was listening to the Blank Check episode about John Carter, which is a movie I like, but is definitely sort of like that. Definitely like sort of like the definitive movie of that era of failed franchise starter stuff, where it's like, oh, we'll get to all the good stuff in the second movie, and everyone is just like, why not just make it the first movie?
Mm-hmm.
And look, I watched the James Gunn Superman movie, and I was not really a fan of it, which I think is just mainly me being so fucking done with the superhero stuff that isn't like the Matt Reeves Batman sequel. Like, that's the one I'll go see in theaters. Everything else, it's like, I don't know, maybe I'll catch up with it, maybe I won't. But like, I used to be so fucking heavy into the superhero shit, and now it's like, I'm gonna watch anything else.
Yeah. And it's funny because like I watched Masters of the Universe in the theater a couple months ago.
Oh, Jesus Christ, why'd you do that?
It was cheap Tuesday. I wanted to go to the house. And it was entertaining. But that feels like a throwback to like a 2017 kind of blockbuster where like people will see that movie. Like, it reminded me of something like, you know, like it's better than something like better than it, but like Ant-Man 2 or something like that. Where like, something like Ant-Man 2 can make like $900 million just because it is a superhero movie. So like, and if you look at superhero movies now, like Supergirl did bad at the box office. Like, it's just you can't just like expect people to go to the movies and see anything just because it is like a specific genre.
Yeah, it's like the big story of the year is stuff like Obsession and Backrooms, these sort of like independent horror movies just absolutely becoming phenomenons and making hundreds of millions of dollars. And you have like guys like Spielberg and you have guys like Nolan praising these movies, and you also have, of course, studios deciding to do weird things because of this. Like, you have the Backrooms rush of sort of these internet creepypasta IPs where Zach Kreger and Brian Duffield have the rights to Siren Head, and a different studio got the rights to the same guy's cartoon cat character. And it's like probably going to be another example of like studios missing the forest for the trees, but that's always been the case. Where it's like Tim Burton's Batman, one of my favorite movies of all time. The lesson the studio took from that was not to make movies out of other DC superheroes, but to make movies about old school pulp superheroes. So you had The Shadow, and you had The Phantom, and you had Darkman, which was basically Sam Raimi's, like, I wanted to make a Shadow movie, but they wouldn't let me, so I'm making my own guy.
Yeah.
And, like, I think those movies are really good, but it's like another example of like, you know, people who with more money than sense making decisions that don't really work because they didn't understand why a thing was successful. And I guess we'll see what the post-Obsession, post-Backrooms rush looks like in a few years. Like, I didn't see Obsession, I did see Backrooms, and I liked that movie a fair bit. And I'm interested in seeing what happens to these filmmakers. But at the same time, I am sort of like, I feel like we are ready for sort of the post-superhero era of blockbusters, which maybe the Odyssey will fully, like, show us what that world's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
A movie that I will be seeing twice in as many days.
Mm-hmm. I got my tickets for Sunday, so definitely seeing that. But think of like a, talking about like a non-IP movies, and Event Horizon is one that's not based on anything. It's just like an original idea, and it's so funny that like I think it was the Odyssey where like Nolan's talking about how like difficult it's going to be to like make some of the text just feel like original, because the Odyssey is like such an old story that's been retold so many times in different ways, referenced so many ways, and.
Yeah, it's like I just saw Oh Brother, Where Art Thou in 35mm last night, and it was a packed house, and everybody was super into it. It was such a great time.
And it's funny going back to Event Horizon, is that, like, this is like a movie from the 90s, but like, it's influenced so many horror video games specifically. Like, Dead Space is completely like this. Some of the Doom games become a lot more like this as well, like the kind of
those, like the new ones with the metal soundtracks.
Yeah, because like it's always in Doom. There's always been demons and shit with it, but like when it comes to Doom 3, which is a much slower of a game with how you can really articles and computers and stuff. You can really emails and computers and stuff, try to figure out what the hell's going on. And a lot of the stuff of like we kind of like we're messing around with this drive and we actually open this portal to hell and everything. The more narrative focused Doom stuff is like a lot of it's like very ripped from Event Horizon as well. So it's kind of funny that you have like a movie like this just kind of like it was a failure at the time, but like people have grown to like it because it reminds them a lot of other things that they really like.
Yeah, and like it's a movie that a lot of people ended up catching on video and DVD, and it grew like an organic cult following. And Paul W.S. Anderson still talks about it fondly, and there's still a big fandom for this movie. There was. At one point, it was announced that Adam Wingard, who did You're Next and The Guest, he's more known for his Godzilla movies these days.
And don't forget his Death Note movie.
The weird thing is, like, I actually kind of fucked with that Death Note movie at the time. I have no experience with the manga or the anime. I just watched the movie because it was Adam Wingard, and my favorite actor of all time, Willem Dafoe, was in it. So it's like, what was I gonna do? Not watch it? I actually do think that movie has like pretty good cinematography for a Netflix original thing, because it was before Netflix did their fucking like weirdo bullshit. Every movie we make has to be made in these exact parameters. Mm-hmm. So it like looks like a real movie.
I am curious to revisit. I watched it when it first came out and hated it. I hadn't even watched the anime at the point in time. I've watched it since.
I do think the last third of that movie is basically a disaster.
Yeah, that's what I remember the last third of the movie more than anything else.
Yeah, and there was a while where, like, all the fucking dorks and all the weebs really hated Wingard, and I feel like that's not the case anymore. And I haven't seen the trailer, but his next movie, Onslaught, people seem to really like the trailer for that, so it's apparently him getting back into guest mode, so.
Yeah. Well, like, I think of, like, original movies and such, and, like, Paul W.S. Anderson, like, he's kind of, he's never going to shake off the reputation of being a bad filmmaker, I don't think, just because enough people hated, Resident Evil, they hated Alien vs. Predator, they hated Death Race, they hated Monster Hunter movie, and like I think those movies all have. I think Alien vs. Predator is bad. I think Death Race is bad, but like I like those Resident Evil movies, and I like what he does with using the IP as kind of a mashing. He's taking like action figures and remixing to his own thing, and like tell his own kind of action story. So like, but like something like I didn't see In the Lost Lands, his latest movie. But, like, I know that's a huge bomb, and I think that, like, when it comes to this backrooms and obsession kind of, like, oh, we need to make original movies, like, I think Paul W.S. Anderson has something in him that people could really gravitate to.
Yeah, it's like In the Lost Lands was, like, an adaptation of some old George R.R. Martin short.
Oh, is it? Oh, right, it is a George R.R. Martin thing. Yeah, never mind. So it's not truly an original thing. But,
yeah,
like...
it was, like, a weird one where it was, like, shot... And then it took a couple years before it got released, and the distributor was Vertical Entertainment, who I mainly know for doing VOD stuff. They're apparently branching into theatrical. Okay. And he's still in development of a House of the Dead movie, but he's like not on social media or anything, so there haven't really been any updates. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Good for him on that front. But like ultimately, like he's always been a director who wears his influences on his sleeve. He loves Ridley Scott. He loves James Cameron. He loves, like, '80s franchise horror and action movies. Like, he's definitely one of those guys who saw The Matrix and it rewired his brain too.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's start getting the movie itself. So I didn't write down the full opening title cards, which I really do like how it starts off saying in 2015 we got our first base on the moon, first permanent settlement, and then I always love it when science fiction movies have something in the near future, but now for us it's in the past. That always
2010, the year we made contact.
Yeah,
a movie I have not seen, but I would like to see it.
That's notable for my show. I've had a lot of people ask to be on that one, and but eventually, so then start mining Mars, the 30s or something, and then they, in the 2040s, they send out the ship called the Event Horizon to explore their closest star, Proxima Centauri, and it just completely disappears around Neptune. But in 24/7, they get a distress call from a ship, and one of my favorite tropes in any science fiction thing, especially in space, is a distress call from the unknowns of space there from something you have not heard from in years. I love it in Alien when it pops up there, and of course there's always vicious, violent monsters inside of the ship, like facehugger eggs, and this is just a portal to hell. And,
yeah, it's this was a thing where the screenwriter basically managed to pitch it as hey, what if I wrote a haunted house movie in space? And Paramount and some producers were like, hey, you know what? Go ahead. Give it a shot. Mm-hmm. And Paul W.S. Anderson, he was coming off a hit. He was offered Mortal Kombat Annihilation. He was offered some other franchise stuff, he was offered X-Men. And ultimately, he just wanted to make an R-rated movie. Mm-hmm. So Paramount's like, hey, we got this script. And apparently Anderson had the script, redone because the original, the way the original script is described, it kind of sounds a bit like Stephen Sommers' Deep Rising, where it was Event Horizon was a space cruise ship, and it was haunted by tentacle aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, this is maybe a bit too much like Alien. Let's sort of rebuild it a little bit to bring it back to the haunted house thing.
I do think that if it was tentacle monsters that especially this era of CGI, that CGI would have aged really poorly.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that and a little bit of Anderson being look, we can be inspired by Alien, but we can't fully just rip it off. We don't. Mm-hmm. And he came up with the idea of it being more of an extra dimensional thing more than just a monster movie. Mm-hmm. Though it is very funny that some of the influences that are listed are considerably more highbrow stuff. He mentions Robert Wise's The Haunting. He mentions Tarkovsky's Solaris.
Mm-hmm.
And the screenwriter apparently says that there was a heavy Warhammer 40K influence.
I did a Warhammer episode very early on in the show, and I can think I mostly see that in the design, and I know that Warhammer has a lot of stuff to do with dimensions and hell and stuff and demons, so I can absolutely see that, but I don't know Warhammer enough to know what totally influenced Event Horizon.
I mean, neither do I. There's this book series I really hold deeply in my heart. It's called The Locked Tomb. It's 3 books about necromancers in space, and there's all sorts of other great stuff. I think those books are incredible. And the funny thing is, when it came out, everyone's like, was this author deep into 40K? And she admitted that she wasn't, and ended up getting deep into Warhammer 40K after writing those books. She apparently got an offer to do a sort of lore novel type thing, mm-hmm. but had to decline due to being busy. And from what I've heard about that whole property and its fandom, I'm kind of hesitant to give it a look.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see how I feel in a while. I may get bored enough to take the plunge. I'm still deep in my Berserk plunge right now, so maybe when I finish that, I'll decide I need another dark nerd property to get into.
Yeah. So with we open up and see Sam Neill. He's he has like nightmare visions of the event horizon itself, him on the ship, and seeing himself like his face, him floating in the no gravity, and like his face being completely cut up. And we cut back to him waking up, and it's clearly a dream, and he has all kinds of pictures of his dead wife beside him.
Yeah, he's got his whole memorial shrine to his dead wife, who we see in later flashbacks committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his trauma, that's his deal. Mm-hmm. And he ends up getting yanked to a ship called the Lewis and Clark, who were pulled off leave to go take a look at the event horizon. The ship
getting pulled off leave is such a great detail, because like Laurence Fishburne as like the captain there, he's clearly, everyone does not want to be, everyone's pissed off because they wanted a break and such, they want to visit their families, they want some downtime, and they immediately hate Sam Neill because they took him away from leave. Yeah,
it's like Laurence Fishburne, he's a hard ass, he runs a tight ship, and we get sort of a look at the ensemble, which we have your character types. You have the medical tech who's sad that she doesn't get to go see her disabled son while on leave. You have Joelle Richardson as the communications officer, who, sorry to be horny on Maine, but she was so fucking hot in this movie. Holy shit.
Oh god, yeah.
You've got the rescue tech. You've got the rescue technician who's like, sort of a wisecracking guy. You have the fresh-faced baby boy, the engineer, played by an actor with the very funny name of Jack Noseworthy. You have Sean Pertwee as the pervert pilot, yeah. And everyone's favorite boy, Jason Isaacs, as the doctor, who's very learned, very well read. He knows Latin. He's very sort of like taking everything very seriously.
Yeah, I think that Jason Isaacs released Jolie Richardson, Jason Isaacs, they're the ones that stand out to me a lot in this ensemble, of course, other than the two leads, Laurence Fishburne and Sam Neill. I'm not really sure how I could really the rest of the cast, how I can really expand them a lot to have them be a bit more, I don't know, I'm thinking of Aliens, where you really, really care about that cast really quickly.
Yeah,
it's like
with Alien, you have, it's just basically a bunch of blue-collar, long-haul truckers in space, and they have sort of that dynamic going on. And then with Aliens, of course, you have the fraternity of military brothers and whatnot. And in this, you get a little bit of that. They try to spice it up a little bit. There's a very loosely played with found family dynamic in that Kathleen Quinlan, who is the member of the ship who actually has a mother, is basically considered, the team mom. She gets called
Mama Bear.
Yeah, and the fresh-faced baby boy gets called Baby Bear, and you see a little bit of that later on in the movie during a set piece you actually talked about earlier. And then we get maybe one of the movie's most iconic scenes, which is Sam Neill explaining the whole thing with the event horizon, and you have the bit that basically is maybe, as far as, a writing technique, where the movie has become, the most, influential, where he explains the concept of, the gravity warp drive, or the thing that makes the event horizon travel faster than the speed of light, which is basically, to quote, the greatest movie of all time, Southland Tales, Quantum Teleportation. I'm not joking.
Yeah. There's of course an iconic scene that even Interstellar uses to describe how a wormhole works, where he takes the pornography, like a pinup of a magazine, and asks pokes two holes in it. There's two places in space. So he asks them what is the fastest? What is the fastest way between two destinations? And someone says a straight line. It's nope. The fastest way is if they were already together. So he folds the pornography so that the two holes he poked in it are right beside one another, illustrating how space and time can fold in itself. And then he sticks a pen right through it to show this would be when the ship travels through it. and then the pen goes through, and then it unfolds it again, so the space is unfolded, and you go from one spot to the other instantaneously. So a journey through space that would take 1,000 years can happen within a day.
Yeah, it's a very... that's actually probably the most well-done like screenplay structure part of the story. And there's like one last thing I want to mention before we keep going, which is at one point Sam Neill is walking around the ship after he gets out of cryo, and he gets a jump scare of a bunk opening, and that bunk is just full of random NFL cutout magazine NFL pictures.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, and it's like, it's one of those things where you can tell it was Brits trying to make a production design thing, like, this guy's really into American football, because it's not a shrine to like one specific team or one specific player. It literally feels like they just got a copy of Sports Illustrated and cut out a bunch of random football pictures, because I'm going to, like, some of these teams here: the Carolina Panthers, the San Francisco 49ers, the Detroit Lions, the Miami Dolphins, and I'm pretty sure that's the San Diego Chargers, are all represented in these photos. And it's like just so crazy. Like, yep, these are just a bunch of random football images that got mashed into like this one thing to show that this guy's into American football. And, you know, it's like, this was the 90s. The NFL hadn't truly become international yet. And they're like, well, we're making a big American movie. It's American characters. We might as well... It would be weird if we just had, like, a shrine to, like, Manchester United in here, you know?
Yeah. It would also just make a lot more sense in the 90s just to have just the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and, like, the only, like, player I truly... Like, Dan Marino, Barry Sanders, and Joe Montana are the only, like, players here I can, like, specifically be like, yep, those are those guys.
I just love the idea in the year 2047. It's like, yeah, here's my Dan Marino picture and bring with me into space.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, to be fair, that the Dolphins fans may still be holding on to Dan Marino by 2047.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're that Kansas is fucking cursed, which is great.
Yeah,
but, like
the funniest bit of like news that has come out regarding the Dolphins recently actually doesn't really have anything to do with the team. It's that the owner has mentioned that because of the changes that they made to Hard Rock Stadium over the years to host various other events and other sports, Hard Rock Stadium is no longer fit to host Super Bowls by NFL standards.
Oh man, that's rough.
Imagine being the owner of the Miami team, fucking up being like an every 5-year Super Bowl host.
And like players love to have the Super Bowl in Miami because to go party afterwards and stuff like that. And like every time they've had a Miami Super Bowl, it's been like kind of like a huge event. Like I feel like they do a lot more in that city to do Super Bowl things compared to like, I don't know, like Santa Clarita hosting where the 49ers play, like having the Super Bowl there. Like,
yeah, it's like I am an Indianapolis Colts fan, and both Indianapolis Colts Super Bowls in my lifetime were played in Miami. Mm-hmm. And the most recent Miami Super Bowl was, I think, that Niners-Chiefs one, the first Chiefs Super Bowl win. That was a really good game and a really good halftime show.
Who was the halftime show for that one again?
It was Shakira and Jennifer Lopez.
Oh, that was great, yeah.
And
I loved all the people who got all horned up watching it with their family and had to call a CRTC saying they were too horny watching the game.
Yeah, it's like Miami, New Orleans, Phoenix, and for a while San Diego were like the go-to Super Bowl spots. And now we have like every Midwestern and Northern team building a dome in order to host like one Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Like we have that here in Kansas City. They're moving over to the truly interminable Legends District in KCK to build an arena, and to build a dome, and they want to host the Super Bowl there. And you have like Cleveland building a dome. Denver is at least building a retractable roof, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like outdoor football is unfortunately in a lot of jeopardy.
Yeah. At least when the Bills built their new stadium, like, they knew they were not getting a Super Bowl in Orchard Park, New York. Like, you just cannot logistically do that, so even bother trying to pretend
and, like the Bills are the cold weather team. That is, like, their identity.
Yeah. So,
like, they basically did the whole thing that you see in Euro soccer stadiums where they have like the patch over the field that's open, and you have the awnings covering the fans.
Do you think that if the Miami Dolphins open up a portal to hell, that they can that they'd be able to use some of the evil demons on the other side to help them actually succeed in the playoffs?
Well, it seems like the demons are more like in their minds, so they'd need to like put Miami Gardens, Florida, where Hard Rock is, through the portal, and that would and a lot of people would probably be really mad about that because it fucks up the property value. And because like I know how the Floridians are, they care a lot about this kind of shit.
But also the gateway portal to whatever is the circular thing that they have at the core there. There's like a nice little pool of water there too, so Miami's gonna be flooded soon enough already. So
yeah, I feel for the people who can't really afford to move out.
Yeah.
Because, like, as someone who mostly grew up in a coastal town that would experience its own floods, it's like there's a lot of good people in Miami and a lot of great culture in Miami, and it is unfortunate that the place is going to be underwater for a bit, but it's basically going to be turned into Tel Aviv 2 first.
Yeah.
Anyways, they get to the event horizon.
I just want to say, I hope that the whole Miami Dolphins organization has the same fate as the cast of this movie.
Personally, I would rather the Tennessee Titans die first.
Yeah, they're irrelevant. I guess the Dolphins are irrelevant,
and they
too.
also, like, they're also building a big, stupid dome to host Super Bowls in, and Nashville's probably going to take all the Miami Super Bowls at this point. God, a Super Bowl in Nashville every 5 years. Fucking kill me.
So we just finished, he does the whole explanation of, like, how the wormhole works with folding the paper, which is a fantastic way to, like, describe how it works. I remember for years on, like, forums and stuff when people were talking about, like, wormholes. The reputation of this movie, like, I remember back in the 2000s was not very good, but people like, it has this one really great scene to illustrate this one scientific concept, which is so clever.
Yeah, and the joke when Interstellar came out is they basically used the same thing, but
it's 100% the exact same scene, except it's not pornography, it's just a sheet of paper.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, there's a reason you use it, because it's like an easy way to describe a complicated concept to make an audience of people who live in, like, fucking Omaha, Nebraska understand what's going on.
And
I actually have a ticket to see Interstellar in 70mm in September.
That'd be the way to see it. I just rewatched it, and I still hate it.
Yeah, it's like, I have not seen it since first run in theaters. And, as my opinions towards Nolan have changed over the years, there was a while in sort of the 2010s where I was in the, fuck Nolan, he's overrated, his fans are annoying. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I think around Dunkirk came out, like, my tune started changing, because Dunkirk is a movie I really, really liked at the time.
Good movie.
And I loved Tenet, and I loved Oppenheimer. And I feel like I am so fully into this stretch of Nolan movies that I'm feeling, like, much warmer to him as a whole. And the fact that he's, like, a name brand in himself the way very few directors are these days, and he's so insistent on shooting everything on film and
theatrical releases.
Yeah, it's like, he won all the Oscars for Oppenheimer, and his immediate thing was, well, I have all the power in the fucking universe, and it would be a shame to not use it. I'm gonna make the fucking Odyssey.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make it like an old school Hollywood Ben-Hur type epic.
Like, that's just something that no one else has, like, the cachet to do. Like,
yeah, it's like, I have a lot of respect for the guy, and also, like, he's a funnier guy than people really realize.
Oh, I love hearing him on the interview circuit. Like, even if his movies, I'm iffy on at times. Like, I think him, like, talking about movies is great. Like, he's a very funny dude. His press circuit's always fun. I think he's pretty insightful about movies. I wish he had some of the insight in his own movies, but he doesn't. But
like, the thing that really, the funniest thing about him is that he talked about how he took his whole family to see Phantom Thread, and his kids were just calling him Reynolds Woodcock for months. But yeah, Event Horizon.
Yeah. So they also, as part of the distress signal, they get there's a voice message as part of it too, which is just like a lot of people just crying and screaming, and sounds awful. But there's a voice they can hear, and it's a Latin phrase, and the doctor, Jason Isaac's able to translate it to say, liberate me, or like save me. And
again, I guess I didn't think that liberate comes from a Latin word, or maybe the movie's like making all this shit up. I didn't take Latin classes.
Oh god, no, I'm not 90.
The thing is, like, they actually did teach Latin at my high school as like a language you could learn.
I just don't really see the purpose of that. I guess like for me, because like I had to take French classes in school, so like that was mandatory. But like, you know,
Like, I chose to do French classes.
Yeah. I feel like Latin is just one of those things that's it's useful for you if you're going to like academia, but like other than that, like what's the point? Like if you're speaking Latin to you, like how's it going to help you like anything practically in real life?
Classics nerd, I guess, or you know, just whimsy to have something fun in your back pocket to like, you know, show off to dates. You know,
in case you are on a ship like the Lewis and Clark, you have to translate a demonic message. It could be useful.
It's like I guess it's more of like a thing of people we should not disincentivize learning the humanities, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. And honestly, it kind of makes sense for the doctor to know some Latin because like so much of like, you know,
medical terminology.
Yeah, there's so much Latin in studying medicine. But yeah, so they go and stay, or they're getting close to the event horizon, and the event horizon's so much bigger than Lewis and Clark, and they get on board. Sam Neill wants to go first, but like Laurence Fishburne's like, no, you stay on board here. Like we have to do this our own proper procedure. Sam Neill's pissed about that, and they start looking around. So like the anti-gravity is like, so the gravity's all fucked up. So like there's just things floating around and such. They see some signs of a massacre. They find like hands and stuff. They find all kinds of blood and like a lot.
Yeah, it's like so many scenes are just them kind of debriefing on the deck, and the deck is just like coated in viscera.
Yeah, and I think this movie uses its R rating pretty well. Like it doesn't get too explicit, which like apparently the other cuts of the movie do. But like, I think it's not. It doesn't feel edgy, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it's like, let's talk about this for a second. So the movie kind of had a notoriously kind of rushed production schedule because Paramount wanted to get a movie out before Titanic in the fall. I mean, in the winter of 97. And Anderson agreed to do that. But that included him, like, you know, as he agreed by that, like, there was a DGA guarantee that directors have 10 weeks to produce the first cut of a movie. But because the production schedule was so rushed, Anderson agreed to do 6 weeks. And he basically went from principal photography that he principal photography he was supposed to like edit, but there were still 2 weeks of second unit shooting, which went it down from 6 weeks to 4 weeks. He could only do a rough cut, and the rough cut screened for test audiences, and it screened terribly. And he admitted it was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. It was apparently too long. He thought it was like not. He didn't really cohere. The effects were unfinished. The sound was bad, and Paramount apparently hadn't even watched any dailies before they started shooting the gore stuff. And they were like, and apparently they were like, oh, less gore, shorter runtime. We also think you're saying fuck you to one of our most valuable properties, which is Star Trek. And Anderson was like, look, I agreed that cut was bad, but they were like saying stuff about it that I completely disagreed with. And he thinks that the best cut of the movie would have been about 10 minutes longer than the current one.
I think it needs that much more. I think it'd be cool to have some more of the hell imagery, but I think you get a little montage of a lot of the stuff they shot. But like, I don't think you need that much more for the movie to be a lot more functional.
Yeah, but he said only some of it was the gore. I imagine he was thinking about maybe some like stuff that maybe tried to build out the characters more, add some breathing room. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, I do feel like the 95, 96, 100-minute runtime actually does kind of, like, play in its favor.
Yeah. Like I watched this yesterday, and then I watched in the background earlier today, and, like, it zips by.
Yeah, it's, like, it's a very easy movie to just, like, pop a gummy or drink a few beers and just watch and have a good time with. I know because I have done both.
Yeah.
And people, like, you know, make a big deal about the lost footage of this movie, which was kept in, like, an Eastern European salt mine to the point where it is basically, like, unwatchable and unrestorable. And the studio did want to make a director's cut, but as I said, the footage was not exactly releasable. Like, someone found... Like, there are straight-up lists of what the footage is. Like, more backstory for some of the ancillary characters. Additional scenes sort of explaining the science a bit more. Some more hallucinations. And, of course, the visions from hell sequence that they find. And from the final fight that Laurence Fishburne and Sam Neill have. And the film's shooting script is out there and has, like, alternate endings as well.
Uh-huh.
But Anderson has said, basically, a whole bunch of times that the footage is gone forever. And someone apparently found a VHS tape with the rough cut on it.
Uh-huh.
But
I would love to see that.
But apparently Anderson had... Between the first time Anderson talked about it and the second time... he still hadn't really seen it. I assume because he is, like, a married man with children who is still trying to make movies.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit of a shame that a better cut of this movie doesn't exist, but it's still, like, a movie I like a whole lot as it is, and Anderson is still, like, happy with a lot of it, as I've gathered.
Yeah. And, like, I've done a lot of movies with this podcast that, like, feel compromised. This movie does not really feel that compromised. It feels a little bit rushed, but it does not feel like a movie that, like, the vision of this movie, this filmmaker, is not there. Like, it's all here in the final cut that we're watching.
Yeah, it's, like, gotten to the point where, like, industry trades are, like, including it in lists of the best horror movies of all time, which is kind of crazy.
And
it's been,
I can just imagine, like, if they were to even get, like, some of, like, access to the VHS tapes or something like that, because, like, the Mario Bros. Movie from the 90s, like, they pieced together, like, multiple VHS rough cuts and were able to, like, for, like, the Arrow release, I think it's Arrow, and, like, they were able to just, like, put enough as bonus features, and they released an incredible looking set. I imagine Event Horizon someday is going to get a really cool 4K set.
Yeah, it's like, I remember there being a Shout Factory Blu-ray that was released in, like, the late 2010s that didn't have the director's cut, and people were, like, you know, talking a bit about that. And ultimately, like, another very interesting part of the movie's legacy does involve Sam Neill, which is, you know, every character in the movie is wearing, like, you know, the flag patch of the country that they're from. And Neill's character is Australian, so he's wearing an Australian flag, but it's a different Australian flag. It's one that includes the flag of the Aboriginal people in the place of the Union Jack. And that was Sam Neill's idea. Sam Neill is from that area of the world. He was mainly raised in New Zealand, and if you asked him, he'd say he's a New Zealander, but he did spend a good chunk of his life in Australia and played Australian roles. And the thing about the flag design is that he thought that that is how the flag of Australia should look by the year 2047. Which is apparently still a big debate in Australian culture about what the flag should look like and what should be on the flag. And mainly to get rid of the Union Jack and the Southern Cross constellation.
Yeah, it is such a cool little detail that, like, I've seen people talk about it for years and stuff. It's just, like, a fun little detail in this movie that actually is like, oh, like, this is actually, like, thought-provoking, because I never really thought about, like, you know, what would the flag of that country look like, you know, modified, because, you know, I'm not one of those people that, like, knows all the flags of the world and what they mean in specific ways, but, like, it's a cool little detail, and I think about, like, you know, that, just, like, even little modifications of flags as, like, flavor for a universe, it's really cool, but I also like how this is kind of, like, a bit of a statement as well.
Yeah, it's like, by all accounts, Sam Neill was just a mensch of a dude.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like, he's one of those fun social media follows. He's, like, seems like everyone liked working with him. All the outpouring of after he passed away, like, of everyone saying how much they loved working with him and how, like, collaborative he was and how, like, warm he was. It's a really sad loss.
Yeah, it's like, I remember in, like, around the time he was doing press for Hunt for the Wilder People, he was doing a junket interview, And apparently, and it got revealed in that junket interview that, like, an open secret is that Sam Neill would just always, like, carry around, like, a little bowl of candies. And if he liked how a junket interview went, he would give the interviewer a candy.
So sweet.
Yeah, it's like, there are so many of these people that I feel like people don't truly appreciate until they're no longer with us. But Sam Neill didn't feel like that. It feels like Sam Neill was always a guy who, even though he was never, like, a traditional, like, movie star in the way that some of his co-stars, like, you know, Laurence Fishburne or Jeff Goldblum were, he was still a highly respected guy who everyone loved and everyone loved working with him. Whenever he popped up in something, everyone was like, hell fucking yeah, Sam Neill's here.
Yeah, like, he was the lead of Jurassic Park, but at the same time, it's like, that's such an interesting character because it's not just, like, a true blockbuster hero. He's a scientist. He has, like, it is such a cool role, and, like, I like that he didn't really just have the typical Hollywood career of, like, you know, you're in a big movie, you're only from big movies from now on. He picked his roles very, very well.
Yeah, and he always loved doing, like, indie movies in New Zealand and Australia, working with local filmmakers.
Yeah. Like, Hunt for the Wilder People might be Taika Waititi's best movie, I think.
Yeah, it's like, Taika has gone so far off the deep end.
He's one of the worst working directors right now, but, like, but back then, he was making some really good movies.
Yeah, it's like, I remember liking Wilder People and his What We Do in the Shadows film at the time, and I am mortified to revisit either of them. But because, you know, we're in, like, a post, like, Jojo Rabbit world where Taika has just seemed to have gotten money and that therefore stopped giving a shit.
Well, his latest project is a short for Disney Plus for Christmas, where it's basically just, like, celebrating everything that Disney Plus has to offer on its service.
Yeah, and it's like he adapted his next movie is an adaptation of an acclaimed book by the author Kazuo. Sorry, I don't remember the full name, but the book is called Clara and the Sun. It's a book that won a whole bunch of prizes, is very well loved, and is by an acclaimed author, Kazuo Ishiguro. And I haven't seen the trailer, which just released, but the people I know who've read the book are not happy.
The movie did Next Goal Wins was absolutely atrocious, and pretty problematic too, because he, like, in real life there was on that soccer team there was a trans person on it, but, like, he made the main character transphobic so that they could give that character a redemption arc, even though the guy in real life was not transphobic at all.
Also, didn't, like, Taika leave his family when he became famous?
That sounds right.
Yeah, because, like, he was married and had 2 kids with a New Zealand film producer, and then they separated, like, right after Thor Ragnarok came out. And he proceeded to get married to a British pop star.
Of course.
And, you know, he's been, like, financing, like, other, like, New Zealand and Maori and indigenous artists, but that hasn't exactly translated to his own work. And even just as an actor, he has become just thoroughly interminable.
Bad actor. Him and Free Guy, that is such a terrible performance.
Free Guy, a movie I will never see.
It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. That's the one where Sean Levy, the director, has that one where, like, Taika's, like, riffing is so sublime or whatever. Like, it's so bad.
Like, he takes an already funny script and his riffing takes it to a level where it's just freaking sublime.
Yeah, it's atrocious. Don't watch it.
God, throw Sean Levy in the meat grinder.
He is not a good filmmaker.
And everyone's trying to, like, treat him as, like, an auteur, as if he's not the guy who did, like, the 2003 Cheaper by the Dozen.
He's the guy that fucking Night at the Museum movies. Those movies suck. Like, he's not, like, he's made movies that made money. That's he's a journeyman guy. He's not, like, some guy with a vision. Like,
but we're sort of, like, everything is being enshittified, and that includes, like, the trades, like, bringing up Sean Levy and trying to make him seem like a mogul and, like, an actual filmmaker who is worth shit just because he made, like, movies that made money. And, like, he's doing a Star Wars movie now, and, like, Ryan Gosling and Mia Goth and Amy Adams are in it. And it's like, we need to talk about how Ryan Gosling is thoroughly fucking his movie star image.
No, I think that he's kind of bounced back with Project Hail Mary.
Like, a movie I liked but didn't love, and Lord and Miller are directors who I kind of consider in that Taika zone of just being sort of insufferable.
Mm-hmm. But, like, Ryan Gosling's a guy who, like, he absolutely, like, other than Barbie and Project Hail Mary, this decade has not been that great for him.
It's like, remember when he was in Refn movies?
Yeah. Blue Valentine, like, he had a great 2010s. Dry, oh god, like, he was doing some really cool things. But also what's kind of interesting, too, is, like, there's Event Horizon, when it comes to its comedy, like, there's a couple characters that are kind of jokey here and there, but, like, I don't think it really works for, what's the black guy's name? Cooper. I don't think it really works for him, the kind of jokes he's making, like when he's like trying to fly back to the Event Horizon. But like,
yeah, the actor is Richard T. Jones, who basically every actor in this movie, besides like Jack Noseworthy as the young gun, are guys I've seen in other movies, but didn't really put together that it was him. Like, outside of Event Horizon, like the big thing that I've seen Richard T. Jones in is a minor role in Collateral and a sort of like middle of the cast role in Phone Booth. Like, he's been in stuff we've seen. It's just he's never been like that type of guy. Event Horizon may actually be the biggest role he's had in like a big movie like this.
I think that guy's on like The Rookie or something. He's on one of those shows that always see ads for.
He is actually. He says he's on the main cast of The Rookie.
I wonder how many millions of episodes he's been on that show.
Was he in the episode where they went to the Dropout Studios?
I have no idea. I've never watched The Rookie.
Neither have I, but it is just thoroughly fucking insane that a network TV show did an episode set at the fucking internet company Dropout.
Yeah.
It would be like if the Hawaii Five-0 show that was in the 2010s with Scott Conn and Daniel Day Kim did an episode where they flew to Austin to go to Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, that might have happened. I did not watch that show. You never know. Yeah, so on the Event Horizon, they're still looking around, and they find the core there where they have like the warp drive, and it's all like it's like a sphere, but it's all kinds of like metal, like
they go through that sort of like magnetic
it.
meat grinder room.
Yeah, which looks so cool. And it's supposed to be it's like for the protect protect the magnetic field or something like that.
But it's also the creepiest looking shit in the universe.
Yeah.
And then you get to the whole thing, and it looks like it's something out of Dark City.
Yeah. It looks like something from like ancient they found. It's like a Stargate they found. It looks like something that's not human they found.
And it's practical, and it looks so fucking cool.
It looks so cool. And there's a lot of it is like coolant that's leaked out, so it was like CGI blobs. This effect does not look great. But Justin, he's the one who's like the first to go in there, and he basically finds...
And he does some standard dumbass horror movie person stuff. He's just like, look at this big wall of coolant. What would happen if I stuck my arm in there?
Yeah. And it ends up being like a portal, and he gets like sucked in by whatever's inside. And so he gets pulled out, but he's like in a catatonic state. And also,
and everyone turns to Sam Neill like, bro, what the fuck is going on? This place fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And Sam Neill's like, no, my ship, it's a good ship. You are all hallucinating. Yeah. Good ship. I like the ship. Yeah. Like, seriously, he wants to fuck the ship as much as he loves his dead wife.
Oh, he's probably, after the wife died, he probably just like, found the tailpipe of the ship and just fucked that a lot. Like,
yeah, it's like, it feels like he never got over his mourning the ship has kind of like become as big a part of him as mourning his wife. Mm-hmm. But his wife is dead, and now the ship is not. So it's like he's trying to like treat finding the ship as like redeeming his past just by simply doing that, ignoring that the ship is weird and scary.
And I like that there's not dialogue saying that. And it's just all in the performance. And just how the movie progresses, you kind of completely get the obsession. But, like, it's not like, I was building the ship because I missed my wife. Like a lesser movie
it's
would.
like, it's like the ship starts preying on the weaknesses of its new entries.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it attacks Sam Neill with the dead wife. It attacks Laurence Fishburne with the memory of a crew member he lost in a fire. It attacks Catherine Quinlan with her disabled son, who she can't go see on his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And Richard T. Jones isn't really on the ship that much, so he's just seeing some of the weird shit and being like, bro, what the fuck?
Yeah. And he has, at this point, like, there's a shockwave that happens that, like, causes a breach in the Lewis and Clark, so he's off repairing that. So the crew, they can't escape the Event Horizon point in time because they're waiting for, like, the ship to be repaired before they can even get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and they only have a certain amount of air, too, because the oxygen tanks are all fucked. So they have, like, 20 hours of breathable air and a carbon monoxide buildup that they have to sort of race against.
Yeah.
And they try to use the carbon monoxide as, like, an explanation for why everyone's seeing all this weird shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good they have, like, a couple ticking clocks going. And, yeah, so then, we see Justin. He wakes up from his coma eventually,
and he decides to kill himself.
Yeah, he's like completely possessed almost, and he's not almost. He is possessed, and he gets the airlock and tries to vent himself, and everyone's like knocking the door, like, Justin, open the damn door.
It's like you're like what, 15 years old? Don't do this.
and they keep calling him Baby Bear and such, and
he's like, if y'all saw the shit I saw in that portal, you'd be doing this too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then, like, the last second, he kind of, like, snaps into it, and he's like,
he hits the suicide button, and he's like, wait, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. And, so, like,
Laurence Fishburne is out in space for some reason, and he's, going to try and save the baby boy.
Mm-hmm. And, like, he tells him, alright, close your eyes, and breathe out all the air of your lungs and stuff, curl into a ball, because you need to pressurize.
By that point, blood is already coming out of his eyes, and he is screaming.
Yeah, I just like had the always remember like his eyes like popping out. But I think like he still has his eyeballs by the end of the movie.
Yeah, it's like I think they're able to keep him alive, but they put him back in the suspended animation.
Yeah, he's out of the movie at this point for the rest of the movie. At this point,
and at that point, I think it's after that where they find the gore orgy footage.
Yeah, because they find the longer video, and it really says "save yourself from hell" instead of like "save yourself," and
or it's like instead of "save me," it's "save yourself from hell," and we don't see too much of the footage, and there was a lot more of it. Yeah. Apparently, the footage that was shot, it goes deeper into it. Like, everyone went insane, so they're like eating each other and raping each other and like pulling skin off of everything and gouging their eyeballs out.
I was pausing the scene a lot just to get the frames of it, and like it's some gnarly shit they're showing, and like they show it fast and we miss a lot of it, but like there's like clear rape happening, there's like amputees and such, and like they hired some amputees.
Yeah, they hired some sex workers to be in the scene.
Mm-hmm. It's really like horrifying.
Yeah, it's like, and the big shot of the scene is the captain holding out his own gouged out eyeballs and saying the thing in Latin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great moment, and like one of my favorite things in horror video games is when you find like a video log or an audio log and just uncover something absolutely horrifying. And I think this is another thing that Event Horizon inspired a lot of video games.
Yeah, it's like, what did you say was Dead Space?
Dead Space, yep. That is one where you're fighting demons and stuff on like a giant ship.
Yeah, it's like I'm not really a video game person, and and what little taste in video games I do have is not sort of in the Dead Space area.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not really a field of inspiration I can really like talk about with any sort of knowledge whatsoever. But from what little I've seen, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, is this the point where Sam Neill just fully goes and turns heel?
Yeah, well, he has like the one vision of his wife when he's like trying to fix some things.
Where he's like watching his wife's suicide.
Yeah,
and it's like a very there's a few like bizarre elements of it where his wife like is topless and gets into the bath to kill herself, but she still has her panties on.
Mm-hmm. And when like she has like the razor blade and putting it towards her wrist there, the cut that this movie does with the edit is so good.
Yeah, and apparently like an extended, bloodier version of the scene was shot, but I feel like cutting it down was ultimately for the best.
You don't need it. Like, the movie's bloody enough as is, and like we get the point.
Yeah, and at that point, it's like we're wondering if, like, are we just actually watching a snuff film right now? If we see like someone's completely realistic suicide.
Yeah, and just before the hallucination of his wife, there, was it Catherine Quinlan's character? She's kind of wandering around the ship, and she sees the hallucination of her son there, and runs to go get him, and falls and like off like the second story there, and falls into the
to her death.
To her death. She bounces off a lot of things on the way down too. It's a pretty gnarly death.
Yeah, and at that point, like, Sam Neill has fully come to the decision that the ship became sentient with extra-dimensional hell energy, and Laurence Fishburne's like, I've had enough of this shit. We're going home.
Yeah,
and
he has the great line to Sam Neill: "Fuck this ship."
And it's like, I was kind of wondering, because like Fishburne is billed above Neill, but this is very much Neill's movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there has to have been some like weird Actors Guild like billing wars going on there.
Yeah. Well, it could be that I know that in the ending that like when Fishburne's kind of hallucinating Sam Neill again there, that wasn't supposed to be Sam Neill there. They were supposed to be just the guy you saw get burned up when he in the past. So I wonder if like Sam Neill's role was expanded in reshoots.
I don't think there were reshoots.
I don't think there were actually right. There were reshoots. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a thing where, yeah, Fishburne's whole trauma is sort of like just a crew member who burned to death, and you see a little bit of that at the very end of the movie. Mm-hmm. But this does feel like a Sam Neill movie, and I feel like people remember it more as a Sam Neill movie than a Laurence Fishburne movie. It starts with him, it ends with him. Like, yeah, and the funny thing is, like, as someone who is a diehard, gigantic fan of the Matrix movies, mm-hmm. this was kind of interesting as sort of like a proto-Matrix in that, you know, you have Laurence Fishburne captaining a ship with a crew full of misfits, you know? Mm-hmm. You even have a pervert guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like kind of the dark, like, you know, metal aesthetic of the ship, too. Like, it's very much like this. Yeah,
though, weirdly enough, the ship is much cleaner in Event Horizon than it is in The Matrix.
Oh, way cleaner.
Yeah, because every bit of technology in The Matrix, besides the actual Matrix itself, is, like, has very clearly been through the fucking ringer.
Mm-hmm. Over cycles and cycles.
And they're making, like, moonshine out of, like, the stuff they used to clean the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like after Samuel has a hallucination, that's when like he's like starts clawing his own eyes out.
Yeah, and you have like one of the lines of the movie after Fishburne says "fuck this ship," where he's like, "We're going home. I am home," and then he just backs into the shadows.
Yeah, and like the makeup effect they have for Sam Neill's cut up face without the eyes is so good.
Yeah, it's like they put him in so much makeup where he's just like fucking up his skin just to feel, you know. Mm-hmm. Because he's gone so crazy, he's ripping his skin off. Yeah. That whole look is just absolutely insanely good.
Yeah. And also, he kills Jason Isaac by, like, vivisecting him and, like, hanging him up from, like,
Yeah, like, and just laying out his organs like a Thanksgiving spread.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. Yeah, so, was it the Lewis and Clark? He puts a bomb on Lewis and Clark, which kills the pervert there and blasts Cooper into space.
Yeah, and he starts making his way back to the Event Horizon, and then we get to the bridge where Laurence Fishburne has a space gun, and he's trying to like get Sam Neill to fucking stop. Because at this point, it's basically Laurence Fishburne and Joely Richardson on the ship with Sam Neill as the clear antagonist. Sam Neill turns around with his fucked up face, and he explains, "A ship needs a crew, and we have a new crew." And he's talking about the Event Horizon as if it's sentient, which honestly it kind of is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's a haunted, it's a possessed ship. It's haunted.
And Fishburne's like, "Yeah, no." And don't you see, or I forget the setup, but then you have the line of the movie, "Where we're going, we don't need eyes to see."
It's so good. He sells it so well. Like, it's such a good delivery.
Yeah, he says that line like it's Shakespeare. It rules.
And, so then, was it where Sam Neill has, like, this kind of, like, this, almost like a harpoon gun, almost?
Yeah, he gets Fishburne's space gun.
Yeah. And Sam Neill's also, like, sitting in this captain's chair, almost as if it's, like, a throne, and the way he's sitting there.
Yeah, he's talking as if he's gonna, like, it doesn't specifically say if he has, like, a plan outside of, like, live on his favorite tortured horror ship. It's like, I feel like another version of this movie would have had a line where he's like, he's taking the spaceship back to Earth and he's gonna make Earth into space hell.
Yeah.
But they don't do that, which honestly, good. This movie doesn't need bigger stakes than what is currently happening to these characters.
No, not at all. And, like, it has a lot of restraint for that, because you can absolutely see, like, what if we dial the stakes more and have them, like, the Event Horizon is going to make a turn to Earth, so we have to destroy the Event Horizon. And, but ultimately, like, the thing
that stops Sam Neill's current threat against Fishburne and Richardson is the Cooper character, like, hitting the ship's window and being like, "Hey, bitches, I'm back."
Mm-hmm.
And that provides enough of a distraction for the window to be shot out, and, you know, you have a bit of an airlock thing, and then Richardson and Fishburne are just trying to fucking, and I think Richard T. Jones too, are just trying to fucking leave.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Neill don't like that.
Yeah. And Sam Neill gets launched off into space, gets sucked out into the abyss.
But that's not all. They're trying to get a bunch of shit off the ship and onto the Lewis and Clark so they can just fucking bounce and nuke the Event Horizon. Mm-hmm. But Sam Neill comes back and he starts beating up Laurence Fishburne, gives him a vision of hell.
Was that actually Sam Neill himself, or is it a hallucination?
I mean, it looked like Neill. They at least got Neill for the close-ups.
Yeah, it definitely is Sam Neill, the actor, but I wonder if it's Weir, the character, or just hallucinations.
Nah, I feel like it's Weir, the character. I've always read it as Weir, the character.
Because it starts off the hallucination being the burned up guy that Laurence Fishburne couldn't save. It starts off with that, and then then it becomes Sam Neill. Then they get into a fight on the core there, and this, like, as much as, like, you know, I think this is a effective climax. The sound effects they have of, like, Laurence Fishburne hitting the wall and stuff, it is so comical. It's more like a comedy. It's like the goofy slapstick effects than it is, like, you know, good sound design.
I mean that's probably just the bank of effects they had access to, and they only had so much time. You can't really, like, create, like, Ben Burt type sounds from scratch when you're working on this
time schedule. Yeah, but so then Laurence Fishburne, he is able to detonate all the explosives, sacrificing himself. The rest of the crew is saved.
And then we get another sort of, like, hallucination where Richardson gets out of cryo and one of the people on the crew is fucked up Sam Neill. But it is just kind of revealed to be a hallucination where she's having, like, where she's truly panicking, and Richard T. Jones is like, hey, we're safe, and then the door shuts. But it doesn't feel like they're safe.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the point is, this shit's just gonna keep following them for the rest of their fucking lives. Like, maybe not in that everything they run into is going to be possessed by hell, but they saw some shit.
Yeah, like, they are...
Like, I guess it's technically a happy ending, but it doesn't fucking feel like one.
No, it's a great ending, because, like... Yeah, and it's also just, you know, there's... you know, it's not like they have, like, her, like, 5 years from now, I'd be like, oh my god, like, I remember... I have nightmares to this day. It's just, like... They get rescued, she's still horrified, and the movie ends.
Yeah, and despite the sort of cult following that's grown over time, there was a little bit of time where Paul W.S. Anderson and his producing partner, Jeremy Bull, were trying to figure out if they could do anything more with Event Horizon before ultimately Anderson said, I don't want to take away from the experience of the original.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, like, talk of an Adam Wingard-directed TV series adaptation of Event Horizon for Amazon, and the last update on that has been Wingard saying before the release of his second Godzilla Kong movie that he's still working on it, and he fully sees it as like a project he wants to do. But since then, he got attached to a whole bunch of things after Godzilla Kong was a hit, and now his next project is the indie film Onslaught, which I mentioned earlier. That feels like it's going to be sort of like going back into the guest type territory. So maybe when we're closer to that film's release, he'll mention something, but I'm not entirely sure.
Like with the success of like Alien Earth and stuff, like an absolutely like like an Event Horizon like mini series kind of working out. Like I can see how you can flesh this out to be like 5 hours.
Yeah, and since then there has actually been like more recently there's been some IDW Event Horizon comics. One that was a prequel to the movie and one that was a sequel to the movie. I have not read these comics, but they're out there.
Yeah. I'm curious what they like, but also like I'm satisfied with Event Horizon as the movie as it is.
Same.
I don't really need to go deeper into like the universe. But like I don't know, if they make another, if they reboot this, if they turn a TV show, I'll probably check it out because I think there's a lot of meat on those bones, and I think the fact that the movie's short enough that I can see if you wanted to make this more of a character piece, you can make it work and have it be effective. Because like the idea of having characters with previous trauma just have to hallucinate that because there's like evil ship trying to force those images upon them, like that's right for horror. You can do so much with that.
Yeah, and some other stuff I want to talk about. The score by Michael Kamen is very effective, but it's also very funny when sort of like the of its time electronic music by Orbital will just kind of crash in.
Yeah. It's very 90s.
Yeah, and also I want to give a shout out to the cinematographer of the movie, Adrian Biddle, who for a while was like quietly the best cinematographer working. Like, you look at his filmography, like, he shoots Aliens after being a very quick replacement for its original DOP on recommendation from Ridley Scott because Biddle had shot the famous Apple 1984 commercial. And then after that he shoots Princess Bride, Willow, Thelma and Louise, the 90s Judge Dredd movie, which I have not seen, but it does look very like impressive as like a big budget 90s movie. Event Horizon, The World Is Not Enough, the first Stephen Sommers Mummy movie, and the second, Reign of Fire, and V for Vendetta, and then he passed away in his 50s of a heart attack. But he had a lot of really great-looking stuff on his resume of movies that have stuck around in the consciousness, you know? And I just want to give him his flowers here.
Yeah, because like this movie does look very like looks good. Like a lot of the like I keep one of the shot I love in this movie too is when Sam Neill's kind of like trying to fix things that kind of like the access like kind of small hallway. And
yeah,
it's
the
green.
Computer chip hallway, that fucking rules.
It looks so good, and it's green the way the light works, and like the way that the light bounces off all the green chips.
Yeah, it's like the lighting where the lighting will like shut down for like one cube at a time, and then like come back. Anderson actually does that a few times in the movie, and then he revisits it in Resident Evil Retribution with a little bit just before one of the movie's first major action sequences. And Resident Evil Retribution is a movie I have so many thoughts about. I think that movie is kind of like low-key a masterpiece.
I definitely want to do it as a tie-in for the new movie in September.
That new movie looks fucking good, by the way.
I'm looking forward to it because I think that all of both of Craig's movies fall apart in the third act, but every Resident Evil game also falls apart in the third act. So
I disagree with that on Barbarian. I think Barbarian's pretty great. Weapons, I kind of agree with you. I actually kind of think Weapons kind of like falls off for me once the Aunt Gladys character becomes more of a primary focal point.
Yep, I totally agree, and I think that the Aunt Gladys performance is not good.
Yeah, it's like I love Amy Madigan. I'm glad she got an Oscar, and I do think that the parts of that performance where she's more quiet are very affecting. But I am not a fan of her just going full Aunt Gladys, and we are definitely in the minority on that because...
Oh, absolutely. Everyone loves that performance.
And again, I'm happy that Amy Madigan has got her flowers and got a Oscar for sort of that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's also cool that a horror performance like that wins an Oscar. I just wish it was a better horror performance.
Yeah, that happens every once in a while. Like, I still kind of think that Daniel Kaluuya should have won that year for Get Out.
Oh, that was like 2017. Who won that year?
Trying to think, because no one from Shape of Water got...
That's fucking Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour. That was a bad performance.
Yeah, that performance was kind of like bleh.
Yeah.
So that was the funny year where Jimmy Kimmel had the jet ski bit.
Oh yeah, that was a funny bit. Yeah.
But I thought Kaluuya should have won that year, but the other nominees, oh god, they really gave it to the worst choice. Like, Chalamet was nominated for Call Me by Your Name.
Great performance.
Daniel Day-Lewis was nominated for Phantom Thread. Denzel was nominated for Roman J. Israel Esquire, which I think is an underrated movie.
I haven't seen it, but it's Denzel, so I imagine he's great.
Yeah, and Darkest Hour is like... I mean, I like that. I like Joe Wright's style, but honestly, like, the only performance I really remember, like, truly 100% liking in that movie is Ben Mendelsohn as, like, King George.
I liked Lily James in that movie.
She's the secretary, right?
Yeah.
Also, I want to say, is it Kristen Scott Thomas who's Churchill's wife?
Yes.
Where they reimagined Churchill's wife as, what if she was skinny?
Yeah. Like, Darkest Hour's movie, I remember thinking it was just fine. It was enjoyable. I thought Gary Oldman was just fine, kind of enjoyable, but, like, you know, Gary Oldman, like, I think, like, if they had an Oscar for cameos in movies, he should have won for Oppenheimer. Like, that is, like...
Oh, yeah, he plays Missouri native Harry S. Truman. Like, living in Kansas City, I actually see ads for the Harry Truman Museum a lot. I've never been because presidential museums aren't exactly the kind of thing I'm, like, super interested in.
Yeah,
there's other museums in Kansas City I want to go to.
Alright, well, so that should wrap up our discussion on Event Horizon. We talked about how it's caught a bit of a cult revival since it came out. It made only $42 million off a $60 million budget. Paul W.S. Anderson would later on, of course, make a bunch of movies, including Resident Evil, which Maeve and I have talked about extensively already in the previous podcast episode. Anything you want to plug, Maeve?
Well, there is, like, one last thing I just want to say, which is we're doing this because Sam Neill unfortunately passed away. And I just want to plug that there is a screen test out there for when he auditioned to play James Bond before Timothy Dalton was cast.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very fascinating, like, alternate history to go down, because, like, two of the Broccolis really wanted to cast Sam Neill, and the one who had power at the time said no. And that led to Dalton's casting, and Sam Neill admitted that he was not exactly interested in playing Bond anyways. But the screen test is out there, it's on YouTube, and Sam Neill actually gave pretty good Bond.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating little clip. I'm not sure if he's the right fit for it, but I think it's a really interesting
this was like around, like, Living Daylight's License to Kill type Bond, so...
He would have been a really good... As an actor, he's absolutely incredible. Like, I think he would have been able to just adjust the part. And, of course, like, my perception of what James Bond is changed by who the actors are, so, like, maybe Sam Neill would have completely changed what Bond could be. Like...
Or maybe he could have been a Bond villain.
He would have been a fascinating villain, yeah.
Because as much as Sam Neill is, like, you know, like, was such a mensch of a guy, he did, whenever he got the opportunity to play a villain, he did a pretty good job.
I have the movie, but I've not watched it. The Omen 3.
Like, I have not watched it either. I've heard the movie is bad, but Sam Neill is, like, locked in and is basically the reason why the movie is worth watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've only seen the original 70s Richard Donner Omen.
I've only seen the first Omen, the one that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's like, I know people liked that one.
That one's really good. I would highly recommend it. It's a really well done movie.
Also, doesn't it have a bit where it riffs on Possession?
I'm trying to remember, because I only watched Possession like a year or so after that.
Like, where it tries to riff on a Johnny's Subway thing.
Oh, yes, it does. I've seen similar to that, yeah. Yeah, like, Yeah, that one's worth checking. That one's really worth checking out. But yeah, I really want to check out those.
Watch Possession, watch Event Horizon, watch In the Mouth of Madness, watch them in release order, so it's Possession, Madness, Event Horizon. You'll get 3 movies of Sam Neill having a bad time, but also having a progressively better time.
Yeah. Very true.
Shout out to movies where Sam Neill has a bad time. Gotta be one of my favorite genders.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at bwisher. You can follow MoviePod on Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram, and YouTube. I have a couple of movies that are in the works for next week, so I'm not sure what the time is going to be, but either next week's going to be to continue the Sam Neill celebration. It's going to be Jurassic Park 3, or it's going to be Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Why the fuck am I not on the Batman vs. Superman episode?
You like it too much.
Boo.
I needed a hater.
Bring me on for the Snyder Cut, and maybe I'll be okay with this.
Yeah, I'd be fascinated with the Snyder Cut one because I think the Snyder Cut is an improvement on the original Justice League, and I think
but also like most things are an improvement over that fucking like Frankenstein mess.
That is a complete Frankenstein monster of a movie. But
basically like I don't think I'll ever watch that cut of the movie again, but I will probably definitely. Like, I own the Snyder Cut on Blu-ray, so.
Oh, right, they did a physical release of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's like I got it at like a Target for $10 before Target stopped selling Blu-rays. And I got made fun of by someone at the time for it, and my response was, hey, look, man, we live in a post-Zaslav world.
Yeah, because, like, that movie was exclusive to HBO Max.
Yeah.
At the point in time, like, who knows what they're going to remove it. Just, like that's if you like a movie, or you find a movie interesting, own a physical media, because you never know when the digital overlords will take it away.
Yeah, fuck the digital overlords, man. They fucking suck.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Maeve, and until next week, take care.